Sad truth. Okay, are we ready for pain? Are we ready for suffering, everyone?
Oh yeah, I've seen loads of his shorts. His stuff's great.
StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty made less money than the horse, the first sparkle pony in World of Warcraft. A $15 microtransaction horse
25.
made more money than StarCraft 2. That's it. That's the whole meme, dude. You're wondering why these companies keep doing microtransactions? Because dipshits keep buying them.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Here's the deal, brother. World of Warcraft, at that time, had 12 million subscribers. StarCraft 2, at a number of days post-launch. What were the StarCraft 2 sales? Shit. This is in someone else's coverage of this story. Let me bring it up. Fairly sure I tweeted about it because we can actually do some napkin maths based on this StarCraft.
You can do the maths and then I'll talk about the principles involved.
Wings of Liberty.
Wall.
StarCraft
2, Warrior of Light.
1.5 million copies in its first 2 days.
That's a $60 game?
No.
I can't remember what it was.
Wouldn't have cost that.
I can't remember. Yeah.
What was the original RRB? $49.99. Maybe it was $60. Anyway, it crossed 6 million sales 2 years later. Now, let us think about this. World of Warcraft has 12 million subscribers.
Ned Soccer says that MMO Champion once did an API crawl in the Armory and gathered that most store mounts at that time had sold between 1.5 and 3 million times. You're a repository of knowledge. Hell yeah.
He knows shit.
Mm-hmm.
He knows shit. Dude knows his stuff. Yeah.
I imagine you've forgotten more about World of Warcraft than I've ever known.
Whoa. That's a pretty mind-blowing way to put it, bro. So, okay. I don't know why I said bro.
Because you were in America.
I was in America. I'm like, oh, dude, bro. Bro, dude, bro. And yes, now I don't say stupid. I say stupid. Stupid. Not stupid. I say stupid like a Brit. Jesus. Yes. So there you fucking go, right? What do you want to make? Wings of Liberty or a fucking horse? Make the horse! Man, what horses have done to gaming? Any true gamer should go outside and club a horse to death.
It's all horse.
It's all horses. Yeah, man. So, $25 times million sales.
$25 million.
25 million.
We are good at our mathematics here.
1.6 times $60.
$40, I'm sure.
Let's just say 50.
It's a bit different. It's a bit different.
Is a lot less bucks than 25 million bucks. But anyway, this man's probably not
64 million.
Bullshit.
64 million. But yeah, so this person is in a situation to at least understand most of it or have some information as to whether they know it as part of their job or know someone who knows it.
I've seen so many streams. I didn't even know that was in it. Yes.
Because there's a little bit of context from
Jason Hall, currently
here.
an independent developer and former Blizzard employee, has been sharing some interesting stories about his long career in the industry for a while now. Some are truly insightful, others may seem depressing. It is unclear which mount it was. The Sparkle Pony, yes, which is $25.
Yeah, so this makes me very angry. And there's nothing I or you or any of us can do about it because the law of numbers means that anyone with work is busted.
Because dipshits keep buying them.
Because dipshits
think about voting power.
Buying them.
You know the way Californians sit there and think about what a profound impact they can have in the presidency. And I'm sure the same for deeply red states as well.
And also everyone voting everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. You know, where it's like a voter because of the actual college, a voter in this state has got like, you know, their vote is worth X times more. It's like that on steroids. Why do you think it feels like the business model of a game is being led by 5% of hyperspenders? Because there where the money's from. Can you think about the motherfucker who's got all the shit in Diablo 4, man? They could be worth 20 other players. Opportunity cost. Opportunity cost. Why do you think the whole industry has been trying to make horse flogging platforms rather than video games for all these years? Because evidently what you want is a horse flogging platform to sell horses to people. That's just worth more money.
Yeah, flogging is in selling.
Oh, yes. Oh, beat a dead horse. Flog a dead horse, yes.
Yeah, so this is the part where I have no idea how to personally like deal with this, because it's actually like it goes deeper than just this experience, because it's like falls into half of like the death march of society as we know it, where there's a load of people who are autopiloting their fucking lives, making the entire universe worse for the people who have some sort of self-awareness and active thought. And that sounds so profoundly egotistic, but I think a lot of people kind of see it. And they go, who are these fucking people buying every goddamn, every goddamn storm out? Who are they, and why why are they doing it, and why do they not understand the value of their money in some capacity?
Because here's what I realized, kind of profoundly. I was talking to a friend that I made in Los Estados Unidos. Now, my fucking my take home is going to be, I think my take home pay is going to be like 15 grand this year. Glad I have savings from when I was a one-man band. But like, I was like, so my like, you know, take home, which is, I don't know, like 35 or something. I definitely work a standard 40-hour week. Happy smile. I like said what like that is in dollars to someone who lives in California.
Yeah, I bet they nearly threw up.
They probably near had an aneurysm.
Yeah.
And that is to
they
say,
spend that much on fucking lunch.
yeah. There's motherfuckers who are like, I'm earning 150 grand. Why do I feel like I'm only just safe? Which obviously, you're earning that money in Northern Ireland.
Oh, you're loaded like.
Oh, you have platinum gilded taps in your shit.
Why the fuck do I not work remotely? Why do I not work remotely for some shit?
Do you know what you have if you are doing that? You have a fucking bidet. You're the only man in Belfast with a bidet. And not one of those Ludwig.
And you don't even need to use it.
Not
you
a
can
Ludwig.
hire someone to fucking clean you.
Yeah, that's it. Not a fucking Ludwig strap-on bidet. You know the way Ludwig has a bidet company?
Yeah.
I mean a proper Japanese shitter that costs like 50 grand. And it fucking does everything. Does absolutely. It has actual Baker Cat for your cheeks. Anyway, point is, you know, all these people like, you know, fucking Tech Lead, how I brush my teeth in the morning, brackets as a millionaire. Like, the people who make these games are brushing in with the FANG people. And the FANG people, that's, you know, Facebook and blah, blah, blah. Rich engineers. You know, they're the sorts of people who also fund the entire scene of the furries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, man.
Amongst other subcultures, like.
I think we have a new project for our special weapons division.
Yeah. I have a lot of weapons. I have a lot of weapons to make, yes. Yeah. Indeed.
No, that would actually be against the community guidelines. It was about a weapon that one time, you know, you left it and my light bulb, and then, you know, I took it. And of course, that time I left it and your light bulb.
Yeah.
Very funny. But we can't really say anything else because the old terms and guidelines and conditions.
Yeah. Well, I can imply what it is if I say there's some people I gave some pre-stream homework. There's a line from that song that may make sense. Yes.
Oh, wow, we're going deep.
We're going deep.
So
I give people
all
pre-stream homework to listen to Caligulas Golem, which is a great song.
All of this basically is to say, right, if we're even thinking about $60 as a quantity of money to be thinking about, we're living in cuckoo land.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, per person cuckoo land. And that's really fucked, because just by existing in our country and not being in the poverty line, we are way above the average, you know, wealth or whatever of like all humans on earth, right? But that's the thing. There are so many motherfuckers. It's like, what's the population of California? You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's so big. You know, like the average, I think the average in Cali is 100 grand and the median is 78. In fairness, that median needs to be like that because stuff is so goofy ass expensive there. But here's the deal. If you're dealing with all these states, right, where, you know, that's like the amount of money that exists is just scaled up. You know? It's just scaled up and up and up. Like, as an example, right, I had a cappuccino at a hotel.
Sorry to hear that.
From a Starbucks.
Double sorry to hear that.
It was really bad. Do you know what it came to? It was like, I want this and I want an extra shot and I'll take that sugar-free syrup because guess what? Your Starbucks, this shit ain't toast. This doesn't taste like coffee anyway. Do you know what it came to, dude? $10. $10. $10 for a coffee.
I'm not surprised. I wish I was surprised.
I pay £3.50, which is like, I don't know, $5 max for a very good, yum tasty coffee at a specialty coffee shop.
Yeah.
In fact, you'll pay more for a far worse product. Never go to Starbucks, but all the hotels have them. You know how it is. But it's just that thing of scale, right? It's like, do you know what it's like? We in normal land have patch 7.2 levels of artifact knowledge. But over in California, they're patch 7.3 levels of artifact knowledge. So all this shit's totally mental to us. But to some people over there, it's just the way they play games. They spend, $3,000 a year in a game. It's their hobby, whatever. They don't care. What's their friend? Their friend who's into guns. He probably shoots a few hundred anytime he goes out with the boys to the range. Probably has a new tricked out gun, costs $4,000 full of carbon and I don't know, weird shit, right? But like that is who this is appealing to,
No, I actually disagree.
Okay,
I disagree.
There are hungry minnows as well.
I disagree because the reason for microtransactions is the minnows. Basically, whaling is different, and whaling is going to get those people more than anything else. But I think the problem is that microtransactions work today in an era where your disposable income fucking vanishes because because every single thing in your life is a vulture for the corpse of your wallet.
So I guess just so that people are
just
clear.
Another vulture.
Yes, you're right. This is minnows. This is targeting 10% of players, not 1%. Whenever we talk about whales, we mean people who spend Saudi Prince A has spent £300 million on gacha pulls in Transformers to defeat Saudi Prince B. Yeah. It's not exactly like that. But you remember your man who got not all the legendary gems. He probably couldn't afford that. But your man who went crazy in the legendary gems. I know he's interviewed or reacted by Asmongold. And to him, he was just like, yeah, I'm rich.
Yeah.
It don't mean that.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's more longevity from your legendary gem than your McLaren. I suppose it depends. Do you only drive your McLaren once every 6 months before it falls apart?
There's a huge amount of perceived value not matching the real value in globalization. But I think, because I mind whaling because I think it's inherently unhealthy. Not for the whales. I don't give a fuck about them. As long as they're rich whales, because, if money doesn't matter. People who are exploited is a problem. Cogworth says, I've got a friend on welfare who still buys store-mount pet stuff.
There we go.
That's where I think the problem really is. I think the problem is the perception of value being so fucked up and people having no concept for money. Apologies, Adam. This is depressing for Friday night. We are very high energy and also very depressing. But this is the problem, right?
High energy depression. We're buck fast as humans.
Yeah,
incredible.
Essentially, this is one of the very annoying problems, which is thinking. Fucking sucks. I recommend doing it.
Don't do it
for your entire life, but try not to do it too much.
Never think.
Thinking is bad. But so anyway, there's I was saying about someone in welfare who gets stuff like that and value being completely gone. There is a trend of what's effectively you're just dissected. You're dissected by a world that only has anything in that only ever has anything in market value and selling stuff and buying things. There's a complete lack of I don't know how to put this. How do you spend your time? How do you feel anything? How do you do anything? For people, they buy stuff and feel like it. Because the entirety of the world, since I'm not versed in economic history at all. I'm not actually that very well versed in history. But effectively, at some point, the world became every single thing that everyone does is to make money. And that's fine, but then it becomes, what does the average person's experience be?
Yeah.
Because if everyone is trying to make money from them, then that's them they have to buy a lot of things. And then the entirety of culture gets consumed by consuming. And now you're sold shit all the fucking time, all day long, and you're in such a natural process of spending money consistently. And that's where value comes from. You're wondering, well, okay, well, what do you actually do then? What do you do?
Well,
Douglas
Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy does have a fun little thing of like, what happens if we cured all the diseases? We'll start selling fake temporary diseases so you can say, but I climbed Mount Everest with a broken leg that I bought from the doctor.
Yeah.
Which, yes, is to say, why is so much marketing and advertising and that, think about the focus that it tends to take these days. The thing that I actually have up on my laptop right now is LVMH Group, who own Dior, Louis Vuitton, all those big luxury brands. Blah, blah, blah. And they are surging right now, doing real good. Of
course they are, because we live in hell.
Yeah, because it's that thing that while everybody talks about the income, wage disparity. Here's the thing though. Even if the number of turbo rich motherfuckers is decreasing over time, but our economies do actually appear to still be growing. And in an absolute terms, it's still a lot of people. It's still a lot of people, enough to actually make a difference. And I think we're just seeing that, more and more and more and more. I actually wonder, people who have lived in countries where the currency, they're not able to buy as much for it. We talk about, say, the price of WoW when it's in euros, but a euro in one country is very different to a euro in another country sometimes.
Remember pigs?
Pigs?
Portugal, Italy, Greece, Spain. That was a derogatory term for those four countries because they were dragging the fucking shit out of the European economy.
Oh, so is this uppity, we're the rich Europeans, we're not happy about those countries.
Yeah, they were dragging down the euro substantially.
I see. It's just, it's interesting, what a euro gets you in different countries.
Yeah.
So some of those countries where a euro didn't get you as much, what's happening now is the level at which you feel like they felt. Yeah. It's just increasing and increasing and increasing as all the prices are increasing, as cost of living is hitting a lot of our lives a lot more profoundly, and as there are still enough people to buy full RRP and above GTX 4090s. Because turns out it makes sense to do that, raw financially. But then, I do remember there's a funny quote from an Economics Explained video recently. It's like, but the pure evil economist could, you could have issues such as the solution to the trolley problem is to run that person over, reverse, and run over those people because they're not economically productive anymore. Because in doing so, you've just paid the trolley driver more money.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a joke. But,
so...
I don't want to get too much into doom or sad time.
Yeah, because I see there's people asking about if you read about economic stuff. I actually am, and I sometimes I wear it like a badge of pride. Sometimes I'm profoundly ashamed of it. I am exceedingly unread in a wide variety of topics that I talk about a lot.
Economics is one people should be,
because I'm a very big. I ponder shit all the time and end up having reasonably fresh perspectives.
A lot of people that go in radical directions, left and right, do so because of a lack of an understanding of the economy. Because ultimately the economy is, it's in many ways it's studying incentives and what people are doing. Yeah. So it turns out it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I generally, whenever people don't understand a system and get, I see a lot of people not understanding systems and getting very angry about them. And it's think about how much more dangerous you would be if you really understood the system and you were then angry about it.
Did you ever watch The Matrix, Michael?
Whoa. Whoa.
Sometimes the steak's better than the fucking goop is what I think a lot of people exist under inherently, which is funny because The Matrix was 1999. You imagine people go, hang on, actually, maybe I should step outside the Matrix, and everyone decides not to. But that was the point of the movie. there's something I wanted to steer this in a direction, which is two specific ways, which is Silin says, bro, do you want to be a hunter-gatherer? This is so much better. That's a false dichotomy, sir. I completely appreciate that it's a lot better here than... if from a purely physical perspective, it's substantially better now than having to go hunt for food. But I fucking imagine people are probably a little bit happier times because this current system is causing profound mental damage and psychological damage. We're forgetting as a society how to literally be people. And we're all living as fucking weird zombies under
So going to BlizzCon
forms
is
of
good.
consumers and everything else. Yeah, it's like that's because there was community and belonging there, and people don't fucking have that because all they're thinking about is money all the time because that's all they're sold, that's all they're served. And that is hyper doomerist, and you can just exist and have community and have belonging, but that's not what people talk about. That's not the way the world is going. Which brings me to what, or is it ever said? I feel like I'm living in an economy rather than a culture or society. That is more eloquently put than I have ever vaguely considered it. It's the idea of people are not thinking a lot about living in culture society. They're thinking about the economic thing because that's what overrules.
Yeah, like that's a cultural problem, and we need to fix that.
That's what I mean.
But ultimately, you are pretty chuffed with what this does. This is a high-value purchase. You know, the cars that we have now are so much more capable than ones in the past. All the things that we have, all that progress. Like, it's very easy to be angry about all these things and to then not think about what we've actually got from any of this, such as World of Warcraft existing. I think a part of the problem is actually more going to attention, because it means we are continually in a very reactive state. We're not in a forward-thinking planning state. Which basically is, you know, if people plan their finances and audit their own accounts and go to the store and either meal prep on a Sunday and, you know, put a few in the freezer, a few in the fridge, you know, these are things that because we're all so busy and so reacting about everything all the time, you know, it's like, oh, things happen. We got to go. Oh, I don't have time to eat. I'll deliver. It'll cost 20 quid when dinner probably could have cost 4 quid. You know, so I feel like some of this is the economic side, absolutely. But you then think about America, and it's like, why is everybody going to the fucking food? Because like you can still eat cheap in America if you know you do your groceries and do the cooking yourself. But the thing is, takes knowledge, takes time, takes skills, takes equipment. Already have a car. Arby's is down there. Away we go. So I feel like so much of it is because I think there's almost the whole thing of like, rational actor. It's like, I'm not a rational actor. I'm a lazy, stressed actor. That's what I am.
I've gone out of my way to not be a rational actor. It's been great.
And but the thing is, in a world where we are all able to be more rational actors, where we're all cooking food. I mean, I know whenever my parents were my age, they were cooking their own food and they were spending proportionally less money than I would be. You know, if I was living their lifestyle, I would have more money in my bank account because I wouldn't be doing expensive, lazy food. And I suppose that is the broader context in which so much of like, you know, our generation and stuff lives in, right? It's like back in the day, if I didn't have food in the house, like my choices would be sleep, go to shop and acquire things, or a takeout where I would have to go and drive to get the convenient food rather than Deliveroo, DoorDash. So I think in that context, like our continual high engagement and laziness caused by burnout has led to a grand expansion of paying money for convenience.
Yeah.
And that has meant that we continually are making less economically efficient decisions, which means that more of that money, but here's the thing though, what has came in to do that convenience? Is it local gym? No, it's Deliveroo, it's DoorDash. It is some sort of large venture-backed, whatever it is, company that is slurping all that money out of the, you know, the local sort of circulation and, probably to a bank account in the Republic of Ireland. Which is, have you seen the Irish GDP, dude? Whee!
Yeah.
And this completely reflects reality in Dublin.
Definitely, absolutely.
1,000,000%.
It's almost as if GDP is...
I guess just when I think about these things, I think like, yes, there's all these economic things, but they're happening within a very interesting context.
It's always culture. Everything is culture.
Yeah, it's like
It's the thing people don't understand. Systems don't matter a fuck because it's culture.
capitalism is doing a really good job of, selling the solutions to problems. But the problem is sometimes the solution is a cheat or a hack, like the ice cream, like the donut, like the whatever, right? You're like, if I was one of those based old people in the long time ago, you know that everybody has this sort of fetishized view of the past where everyone is, oh, fiddle-dee-dee, they go to the local greengrocer, then they go to their local butcher, and, we're not living around, you're like, oh my God, it's that red meat. We haven't had that in 2 weeks. Whereas, here people are like, fucking here's that Zach having his dollar steak every night. Can you imagine going back to your, like, grandfather or great-grandfather and being like, did you know that we have dollar steak? They would probably rightly not trust it and put it in their bodies.
Yeah.
Anyway, I suppose...
Well, there's maybe a reason for
True.
that.
I suppose I just bring it up because as much as it's very easy to be the, like, bad, there's actually other dimensions to the bad that explain the bad. And you know the way it's like sometimes it's not the, the way the eagle flies or the crow flies or whatever.
Yeah. I think...
We thoroughly torn the arse
Yeah,
out
to
of
get
it.
a little bit into, like, because I think we didn't even talk about it in terms of fucking video games. It's literally just, there's a cultural problem that people buy these.
Yeah.
That's the quick takeaways. There's a cultural problem that people would rather buy a microtransaction mounted than spend that money on something that's a little bit more valuable to more valuable in a literal sense, because obviously it's completely fine to have personal value. I know if you think that's worth $15, you work away, but to other people it isn't.
Here's
And
the
you
thing.
have to ask, why is it worth that to you? Why do you not do something else? Why are you spending something that is such intrinsic value, but the value is so actually small, literally? Because it's the fact that this false gap in value between its creation and what you're willing to pay for it is the problem. And that's the issue of marketing, that's the issue of IP, that's the issue of capturing your attention. That's the major goal of video games and live services. That's the problem. To almost unduly capture your time and money and attention for an experience, which is mitigated in a lot of cases by games being good experiences because there is an artistry to it at a lot of times. And like, that's fine too. And yeah, Adam, the whole point of marketing is to blind you to the real value and make you get it in the moment. You'd probably trade that store mount for a burger a week later if you're hungry. And that's, value is a perception, and that's a problem where
Think about
now that we move into digital goods and marketing and the abuse and misuse of human psychology, we do have that horrible problem of value no longer has any actual meaning.
I know part of a joke here is like Michael goes to America, sees an advert for Ozempic and has a big laugh. But Ozempic's like a really good example of this. Is there a large cohort of people for whom, and obviously this is not a health advice show, don't listen to any of that shit. Look, it is undeniable though that there is a large cohort of people in the same way, gastric band or whatever, it makes very rational sense for them to have that thing. Right? Makes a lot of sense. But why, right now, back in the day, it would be, hey, Michael, stop eating snacks, you fucking dickhead. Or, somehow convince a surgeon to give you a gastric band. Like how earlier I was talking about how Deliverooing a takeaway or DoorDash for the States or Postmates or whatever. That just wasn't an option, so you couldn't do it. So you'd be like, oh, fine, I'll rustle something up with leftovers. Or, that just big bag of peas that's been sitting in your freezer. But now,
Frozen Iceland chicken.
in the past, what was it? It was a gastric band. What is it right now? Fill in a virtual survey to a telehealth company and pay £300 a month.
Insane.
And ultimately, with Ozempic, like, number one, potential downsides. Number two, long-term studies, not great. Like with many of the quick hacks that are available in the world right now. And number three, it's no substitute for doing the real work, which is to lose it the old-fashioned way.
It's hard.
Which is really hard. And that's kind of evidenced by whenever people stop Ozempic.
It's actually very easy.
On average, whenever people stop Ozempic, the weight comes back on. So this is obviously awesome for the drug company. You're like, you're telling me I can just sell you a monthly gastric band or, sell you like the monthly thing. Which I suppose is to say, this is just a great example of like, is Ozempic in many ways, wonderful drug with pretty amazing outcomes, actually, for, a cohort of people who like really do need that. But then how many people just hear, oh, Elon Musk and a bunch of celebrities used Ozempic, and then it turns into marketing and a product. Versus a medical tool, the way it's like here, a lot of drugs and like medicine things we just treat as being like, oh no, this is like the smart people do these because it's probably good if we're not, hyper marketing them. Whereas, in some other places, it ain't like that. I suppose it's just, negative externalities, et cetera, et cetera. I suppose I have managed to tie in not having things like Deliveroo to Ozempic. And it all fits quite well. Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, what if
What if?
Postmates also could do your Ozempic shots?
Wouldn't be surprised at this point.
Just writers like, what? How's it going, brother? Goes away.
Yeah, which is why I boil it all down to culture and people's own ability.
But the bit that is my point, though, Ozempic is a genuinely pretty fucking cool drug that has great uses.
Yeah.
DoorDash, Deliveroo are genuinely very convenient services. And that's the bit that's challenging.
Yeah.
Because they are genuine value-creating innovations. And they are the problem.
Is that value short-term or long-term? I suppose is the thing.
One would ideally say it's about comparative advantage. So you will order a Deliveroo if your time is better spent doing something else because you are not an efficient efficient in the kitchen.
But then that problem
again, this is being very economic.
Yeah, that's the problem where's the value then?
Yeah.
Where's the value in your time? Are people capable of making the actual decision with their time and money that is actual value?
So
that's where I get back to this and say $15 for a fucking horse is not good value.
No, here's the thing though, you're factually wrong, and philosophizing will only serve to anger people more, not explain why the behavior is happening, and leave us completely empty of tools. That's the bit I think that is the tough pill to swallow for a lot of us pundits and thinky people, where ultimately we can have these opinions, but the thing that matters is, what do people do? And the pure economics of it does appear to be that people do these. I'm obviously not in support of it, and I agree with Matt. I do agree with Matt. I guess I'm just like trying to be the heel to the conversation of like, yeah, but people who earn beans from their work put their beans into this.
Yeah. Yeah,
You say it's not good value. Well, all right. There's a viable business model of it from other people who disagree with you.
Yeah, the ultimate issue then is the perception of value.
That's the problem.
From the perspective that I'm coming from, the perception of value that they have is in some capacity wrong. And that comes from
Korean MMOs.
That comes from a cultural angle. So how does one, in the grand scheme of things, resolve that and change what people think about value?
This is where I'd say, think about how the Korean MMO culture is utterly screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Like Korean MMO culture is disgusting. It is full on swipe. And it's culturally like okay to swipe. And they're like, oh, you did the swipe, great. Look at you and your. Is it any wonder that's the culture that also produced Squid Game? Big thinks there, right? But no, you're like it is. The cultural side. I suppose I just think from the economic perspective, it's like, well, people keep on doing this. That's interesting.
Yeah,
It's one of those things where it's like you need a systems solution, a systemic and incentive-based solution to a issue of behavior, because people engage in behavior because of incentives. Be they external ones or internal ones.
Yeah.
Those incentives, those are the levers that we can play around with. And you could certainly say, in a world where there's a big dearth of meaning, what are people going to get meaning from? They're going to be like, well, how do I gain more?
Yeah, that's
actualizing my...
Yeah.
And that's how League of Legends works.
Yeah, that's where... that's where the solution to me feels like incentivizing within the economic system is obviously going to be like a part of it, but thinking wholly in those terms as opposed to trying to think a little bit outside the box and above, which is fucking hard. Because how do you do that? Is where it kind of comes in and goes weird. I goes, well, what do you need? You need is, was it Austin pointed out there? Was it? Yeah, education's another big part in this. The values taught in school, and that's the case of how do we change how people are educated and think? How do we change culture from a touch point? And obviously that is tell your friends to stop buying microtransactions and then have no friends because they'll tell you to fuck off.
That's like, you have friends and you're like, I disagree with your life choices regarding gacha games.
Yes. Mm-hmm.